Lisa Elwine. Welcome back to another episode of Generation to Generation. I'm here this time with Coleman Hostetler. And if you can't tell, I'm the older generation and he's the younger. Um, but I'm really, excited about doing this program, probably more than my own programs at this point, because it's an opportunity, I think, to do the exact same things that were done in the New Testament, which you see this modeling there of older generations encouraging, mentoring, discipling uh, the next generation along. Because what they wrote, it sounded like they thought Yeshua would just oh, he'll be right back. He just gone for a sec. He stepped out. He'll be right back. And as it turns out, he wasn't right back. He was in us. And so that preparation of the next generation became very important. And I think it's very important because we're a similar generation in that back then you had people beginning to see Torah in light of Yeshua. And now we're beginning to see Yeshua and the Torah together again. And, we've been artificially pulled apart as somehow adversarial. It's not adversarial, they work together. And so if we see this intense effort like Paul at mentoring Timothy and preparing him even at a young age to go out and pastor a congregation, then I think it's good that we understand that maybe some of the things that are way different about our generations are probably some of the things we agree on. Would you think that based on the last couple of programs that we did?
I think so. I think I was talking to somebody recently about G2g, and I was like, we actually have a lot more in common than you would have thought.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy having these conversations and learning things from you. And I'm sure you're probably not learning a whole lot from me.
Well, probably what you learned last time is that I will pull a prank every now and then.
Yeah.
Uh, but I'd really like for you to with our topic today, we want to talk about social media, something you grew up with, and it's still something I'm fighting because I didn't grow up with it. I grew up in the age where you sent letters, and
Well, growing up with it is maybe a little bit of a stretch because I probably didn't really have access to any of that until I was like 16 or so, and I'm only 21. So, I mean, that is a short time, but it's changed a lot since even the beginnings. So, yeah, we're probably learning this kind of together, but yeah, we can get into some things. I had one question for you uh, regarding that. Should we know the culture even though we're not supposed to be submersed in the culture?
I think we have to know something because there again, if Paul is going to be an example, when he would go into a city, he would kind of take a look around, and sometimes he would even tailor the sermon or the message to what people were seeing around them to give them a context. And as human beings, we really need context to build a new block of learning. I was a high school teacher for 7 years, and what you learn is you can't just introduce a concept out of thin air.
Right.
You have to take something that someone already knows, and then you just add another block and add another block. And I think culture would be one of those blocks, that if you're going to add things, know what people are dealing with in their culture.
hmm So that would lead to another question being, should we have a healthy relationship with social media to understand the culture? Because otherwise, how would we even see or understand the culture?
Yeah. And see, this is one of those places where I get really frustrated, which I still use Facebook. I know your generation goes more toward Instagram and TikTok and faster things. I guess, like, what'd you call us, the old heads? Uh, I think we're more
Did I say that?
well, I think you were quoting. I don't think
Oh,
you were
okay.
calling us old heads, but, like, in general, people
Okay,
my
yeah, yeah.
age might call us.
Makes sense. I wasn't saying I didn't say it, but
No, no, I know you wouldn't, but I think with our generation, Facebook was one of the first things because I can remember something called MySpace. I think I had a MySpace account before I had Facebook,
yeah, I definitely don't know what that is.
and I thought, "Why would you need more than one of these things if this is what this is to accomplish?" And I'm like, "It looks like the same thing to me, MySpace, you just tell people I'm out here, if you need to contact me." And then there's Facebook, and of course, I had to learn how to do that, and it seems like that's been the history here is you start out with one thing, it becomes obsolete, and then you have to learn the next thing, and it becomes obsolete, and then the next.
Right.
And so with
Culture.
right. And so, like, on Facebook, I found out, at least on my phone, there's something I think is called a feed,
Mhm.
which they select things they think I want to see, and that's not always a good guess. I don't know what kind of algorithm is picking out what they think I want to see, but and I don't know if you'd call it culture, what you'd call it, but all of a sudden, I'm seeing this, very scantily dressed people and music with language that I object to, and, gangster sort of stuff. And I'm like, I don't know why they think I would be interested in this because before you can shut it down, your eyes see it. And if the phone's turned up, which you just showed me actually how to silence my phone the easy way. Um,
Yeah,
thank
actually,
you.
right. Just before this, she didn't know that there was a button on the
Yeah,
side.
it's like a little cheat button on
Yeah.
the side.
She's going into the settings app, silencing the call.
Well,
Hey,
I was
gotta
being
start
thorough.
somewhere. Yeah,
I was being
exactly.
thorough. And that's part of the problem, I think, because I put it on silent for Shabbat service, and then I forget to turn it back on for several days afterward, which I'm maybe it's on
I do
purpose.
that all the time.
But yeah, there's like, okay, this is it educating me on a culture that I have no interest in? Or do I need to know this about people? When I'm trying to like guard my eyes and my ears from this, how far do I go to understand the culture might be my question to you.
It's I honestly, I don't have an answer, because I guess I mean, I don't know how you see it, stay away from it, understand it. I don't know how to really navigate that yet. I'm probably not the most knowledgeable as far as, those boundaries go. That's why I'm, getting a perspective of someone who probably doesn't use it hardly at all. Whereas I use it for multiple different things. Like my Instagram is usually my fitness and nutrition. I get a lot of my recipes and things from there, music, things like that. TikTok is something people are using now to promote different things. It seems that people get a quicker following on there for things. Something like this, if you posted this on TikTok, in a matter of a day, you could have 1,000 views just because it's out there if you hashtag it right. And then Facebook is I don't use Facebook at all really, but what I what I see on Facebook is a lot of believers, and I'm quoting because I don't you're not really being a believer if you're doing this. We're literally just tearing each other down on well, I guess you would say social media, but on Facebook specifically is where I see it the most. Um, and it's usually the older generation that's doing that to each other. So I don't know where you draw the line as far as that stuff goes.
Well, I think with the older generation too, because we don't quite get it as much because it is kind of new to us. Like, I remember a time, when everybody started using email,
Mm.
and some of the older generation, like, Alan's dad, he discovered that you could put multiple people in an address.
Mm.
And so if he had something to send out, like, all his friends would get it.
Mhm.
Whether you were interested or not, they were just, "Oh, this is great. I can send this to
Wow.
everyone." And then all of a sudden, everybody's replying, and you're getting emails from people you don't even know. Plus, now they have your email, which you don't
That is
necessarily
true.
want them to have. And it was a learning thing. And, especially for people who are retired and maybe don't get out as much, something like email would give him access to communicate with people because now you're not getting up and going to work every day. Some of them are homebound. Maybe they're not going to Shabbat service or church or wherever they go, and they're becoming more isolated. And in that sense, I think the social media is helping them stay in touch with people.
Mhm.
But like you're saying, there's a difference between staying in touch with people and finding out what's going on in their lives and just getting on there and fighting about a doctrinal issue.
Right.
So who teaches that courtesy might be the question.
I agree. Um, and that the scripture in Titus, avoid foolish controversies; they are unprofitable and worthless. Um, I think I see way too much of that on social media. But then, like you say, there's always two sides. So there's also the good side of things where you have people that are living a righteous way. They're living a way that somebody who doesn't have peace, doesn't have salvation, doesn't even know what that is, maybe, and then that comes across their feed somehow. And then all of a sudden it sparks something. And then now they're asking questions, or now they follow that person. And now they're watching what you do, or they're watching what this person does. And it can kind of grow their own relationship. Now they can start searching and asking questions just from one video or one thing that somebody said. Um, because obviously when we say culture as a whole, like there's always multiple cultures within the culture. So I don't want to just put everything under one. We have to understand this culture, but I think understand the culture that's lost, but the culture that's lost and wants to be found.
Mhm.
Because obviously, like the Hollywoods of the world, they're lost and they want to stay there. They don't want what we have.
Right.
Um, but most people are just normal people. They're not the Hollywoods, they're not the elites and these people that put out those garbage songs and movies that you're talking about. They're just people like me and you, and that's all they know. So I think social media can be a conduit of people like us, or just like this G2g, where we can show people what the good side's like.
Right. Right. And I think that's on the negative side. I know this week they passed a law, or they're trying to pass a law, not to allow children to have their phones in a classroom because it's
Should be
detrimental.
already, but
Yeah. Which my first thought was there have been so many incidents of people walking into schools and shooting and that sort of thing. The ability to call 911 to me is important. But as a teacher too, I understand how you are not going to be able to teach much if they're engaged with their phones or taking pictures they shouldn't take or whatever it is that they do. Uh, and I say, well, in this day and age, it's been so long since I've been in a high school classroom. Surely by now they've got panic buttons in a classroom where it doesn't depend on one student having a phone to
yeah, I'm
dial
sure.
911.
Mhm.
But the research is saying that the distractibility is the more you use the screen, the more anxious you are. Like, there is a direct correlation between your screen time and your degree of anxiety, and so you've got a lot of anxious students, and if I know this much, when you're anxious and you're stressed out, you don't learn.
Mm.
That's why I didn't learn to read till the end of 1st grade because my parents were going through a divorce, and it sucked all that energy into worry. Like, "Okay, when I get out of school today, what's it gonna be like?"
Mhm.
And so all that back and forth was resolved by the time I reached the end of 1st grade, and finally, which was a little kid named Miguel who actually taught me how to read because the teacher put him in a corner and said, "You're gonna stay there till she learns how to read." But by then, it was resolved, and then by 2nd grade, I jumped from worst or no reader in the class to best reader in the class. So that tells me, even in an age where there wasn't social media, that when children are worried about something else, your brain does not have access to that energy for learning new things. And so I would say the same is true of adults. The more screen time we have, possibly the greater the degree
Oh,
of
I
anxiety.
would think so.
And so maybe there's a discipline for everything,
Mhm.
even social media.
Oh, I agree, and I don't want anybody to think that I'm advocating for social media at all. I'm not. I think we can all agree life would be much better without it, um, especially spiritually. But because it plays such a huge role in society, the culture, how do we use that to Yahweh's advantage?
Right.
Not just our advantage. Because yeah, we can use it for business. We can use it for, you know, our own pleasures if we wanted to, or we can promote the gospel. Um, so, like you say, there's always two halves to it, but yeah, we just, as believers, we need to be disciplined with our social media and use it for the right reasons.
Yeah. And, discipline, the root of that is disciple. And so if we're going to be good disciples, then if people can see us practicing self discipline on social media, um, that is an example to other people because, like I say, it was a new thing. So you didn't come with rules. Like, this is a good thing to do. This is not a good thing to do. This is a good thing. And this is definitely not a good thing to do. And so we're working that out through trial and error. And sometimes we can look pretty foolish when we make an error. There's certain things I know not to post on Facebook now
Right.
but because I put that on, like, oh, I didn't want to drop that stick of dynamite. Let me just take that whole post off of there because you don't really have control over who sees it, and you don't know if they're a rational human being or not.
Mm.
Uh, I can't even imagine. I do use Twitter on a limited basis because what I liked about it at the beginning was like you can only put so many words in there, which I think now you can buy some program with extra words. But the main thing for me was if we're having events, ministry events, I'm releasing a new book, um,
Promotion.
right, newsletter, weekly newsletter, those sorts of things. It's that people would have a place to go find the the update rather than try to upload everything onto a website. Like, who's
Mhm.
gonna do
For
that?
sure.
Who's gonna go look at a website every day?
Mm-mm.
And so that was helpful because a lot of times it'll just show up in the feed. It's like we're having this conference or whatever, and if they're interested, they can pursue that. But one change I did make early on was less personal stuff. Personal thoughts, just even as a writer, sometimes you want to write creatively, and then you realize, well, I can't really do that here because everybody's got an opinion, and they're not always like you
Mhm.
say.
For sure.
Um,
Yeah, I have lots of thoughts, but why would I put all my thoughts out there for everybody to read,
right,
especially if they're controversial thoughts?
right,
And and I see that a lot. Where I used to, I guess the original point was just for people to be social, maybe. I don't know, like post a picture of your dog and it's a good day or whatever. Now it's, you're gonna post something political every single day, multiple times a day,
Mhm.
just to make other people upset. Or like just think about what you're actually doing when you post something like that. Like what's your actual goal? For people to comment on your post, "This is amazing, blah, blah, blah." To have people agree and validate you, or
Yeah,
to disagree with you so you can argue with them.
right,
Either way, it's feeding something that's not
right.
Christ-like, in my opinion.
Yeah. Which, one thing I will do is, like, on Shabbat, I'll usually post a picture of the dogs or something, Shabbat shalom,
Exactly.
and people know that's coming, but,
Exactly.
they don't need to know when my doctor appointments are and that sorts of thing. It's just there's personal things and there's public things,
Right.
and people need to see you as a real person rather than a robot, because sometimes if they see ministry, they think you've got staff or something, and really, like, this is it. I've got people that I have to pay to do certain things I can't do as contractors, but there's no staff here. And so if you ask a question, I'll probably be the one that answers it. And so you have to kind of like realize that sometimes with social media, people get this image of who they think you are versus who you are. Like, I'm just
Mm.
sitting here in a house in southern Mississippi, and if you send an email, it's not going to go to a staff member. It's
Right.
going to go to me. But I think, back to your point, posting things that are inflammatory on purpose with politics, and this is just a personal opinion, politics we tend to get involved in because we're scared of something. And are we going to be scared of something and believe that government and politics is the method to resolve this insecurity or this fear? Or are we going to turn to Yeshua and say, Yeshua, these things, I'm a little afraid of these things. I don't like the direction this is going. I don't like this latest development. This doesn't reflect my faith. It doesn't reflect you in any way.
Mhm.
It seems really antithetical to what we were founded to do. And sometimes rather than go to Him first with that fear, like my world is changing and I don't like it,
Right.
we tend to post things politically, which is really just saying, these are the things I'm afraid of. And so if I put them out there, maybe more people will agree with me that this scares me, that this is wrong, this is the wrong direction. But politics is one of those things, people don't really move a lot. Once they make
No.
decisions, they don't move.
Especially if you're posting in something inflammatory.
Right.
I mean, it's it's not left or right. It's somewhere in the middle
Mhm.
is where people are gonna be comfortable, to talk, Like, I've seen some podcasts where they have both sides come and sit together and have a conversation. That's not the norm
Mhm.
because it's, "I don't like what you have to say. I don't like what you have to say." Like, right now, we're coming from 2 different points of view just because of the age gap. We end up landing together on a lot of things, but it's because 'cause we're sitting down having a discussion about it.
Yeah.
If you came to me and you just lambasted me about certain things that I do, or you have Instagram, or you post on TikTok or whatever, then I'm probably gonna be like, "This lady's crazy." Like, I don't want whatever she's got going on, I don't want nothing to do with it,
Right.
you know? So, I don't think that shows Yeshua at all
Yeah.
when we're trying to be controversial, we're trying to be, well, controversial is one thing because he was very controversial. I'm not saying not to stand up for what you believe in, but you should never be in somebody's face about it and not willing to sit down and have a
Right.
conversation.
Well, there's a lot of people that just enjoy throwing the holy hand grenades because they like watching things blow up. It's
Yeah.
it's feeding something.
Well, I know someone right now, they started a TikTok account, and it's just these short videos with a caption that is highly controversial. But he's doing it on purpose because he knows that's what's gonna get the most views, that's what's gonna get the most comments, and that's what's gonna get the most likes, and then it's gonna start an avalanche of things. Literally, the page is just growing and growing and growing, and it's all negative,
Mhm.
because people are just in there arguing,
Right?
and he realized that's what's gonna make that's what's gonna it works.
So let's look at it, but this is, like, so not deep, but you use TikTok and Instagram. I use Facebook. Sometimes I'll use Twitter, X, whatever it is today. Um, would it be like when older people dress up in younger people's clothes and try to act young, and then young people look at them like, "What are you doing?" If I got on TikTok and did something, don't you think younger people would look like, "What is that old lady trying to do?"
I mean, could be, but, there's some older people, it seems so harsh when you say old people. Older people seems better for some reason. I'll just say older people.
Just don't say elderly.
Some older people, they might dress kinda the same way, like, that we do, and it doesn't strike you a certain way, but then some people it does, and I think it's because of that attitude, like, that mindset of, "I'm not gonna change for nobody. I don't care what you guys are, blah, blah, blah," and then on the flip side, if somebody were to start wearing something, why are we judging them based on their clothes? Like, they just wanna, like, wear some clothes that fits in with everybody else. Like, what's the problem with that?
Yeah, so it's not like, "What kind of denial are you in?"
Exactly.
Yeah, I wondered about because, like, okay, older people tend to use Facebook more, and younger people tend to use Instagram and TikTok more, and, of course, Instagram and TikTok, from what I understand, it's like it has to be fast. Is that the thing?
I honestly, I'm not sure because, I mean, Facebook, there's the same type reels, I guess you would say, videos, like, you
Mhm.
can scroll on there, I guess. Um, I feel like there's a lot more just posts with, like, writing, like, you read something on Facebook versus Instagram's not really that way. It's more people, conversating or speaking, or there's a video of something. I guess it would be more fast.
Yeah, because 'cause I've noticed even on, YouTube, let's say you put out a 56-minute teaching on YouTube, the average view time is probably going to be somewhere between 14 and 26 minutes, no matter what age group.
Right.
It's just I don't know if people are stopping it and then coming back later.
Probably, but I mean, like, who has time to sit down for an hour to watch something, you know? Like, that's why a lot of people, if they're gonna do that, they'll put it on a streaming service like a Spotify or Apple Music, that way you can listen to it.
Like a podcast?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
If you were gonna do a video or if you were gonna do, like, a live worship set, some people might watch it on their TV or something like that, but I doubt they would watch the whole thing.
Yeah. I have podcasts,
You do?
thanks to somebody younger than I. Actually, I had YouTube for a while and didn't know it.
Hey, YouTube.
I did add a YouTube channel I didn't know about.
Didn't know about it.
Yeah, Nikki finally clued me. I had a
How
YouTube channel.
how many subs?
Well, I at this point, I wanna say it's around 7,000 and something
Mm.
followers. But like I say, when I that sounds like it's
Yeah,
really
that's a
great.
lot for you not even knowing.
Yeah, but the view time, like but how long are they watching? Because when I do something, it's usually about an hour teaching. It's designed that way. And, so, like I say, if they're watching probably on Shabbat and that's all they have access to, they're probably watching longer. Um, But yeah, see, that's even evolved. Like YouTube could actually turn into a podcast,
Mhm.
and that's something else to learn and
Well, that's
something else to
why
think about.
people you don't just post a YouTube video. You post a YouTube video and then you clip that YouTube video to make a bunch of small YouTube videos. And then you take those small YouTube videos and you put them on Instagram. And then now they're short reels for Instagram. And then you put them on TikTok and they're short TikToks for TikTok. And then you put them on Facebook and they're short videos for Facebook. And it all goes hand in hand, so people will be like, "Okay, we're gonna go watch that," and then you take the audio and you put it into streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music and Amazon and all these different things. I mean, that's the only way for any of it to work.
Okay, this would be the place where the thought bubble would pop up. Like, what?
No, it's just
What did you say?
and if you're gonna promote him,
Mhm.
the only way to do that successfully is to use all of those resources, because if you don't, then I like me, I'm gonna be stuck at 21 subscribers for the rest of my life.
Yeah, but, it's one of those things, there's a demographic to it as well. My demographic, and I figured out how to do this too. My demographic is women aged 40 to 60.
Oh, okay.
So, I think they probably do tend to sit still longer,
Probably.
maybe to watch a program, but it doesn't mean I'm uninterested in other demographics. I just know that's the main group that I appeal to as a teacher. Because as a teacher, you're not going to appeal to everybody.
No, for sure. And
Just
once you find what that is, you try to capture that as best you can. That way you can get as many of them as you can.
yeah. That's I think the frustration of it is with social media because it is constantly evolving. Like, you're telling me all these steps I can do, and that's like, I'm shutting down, like, "No, I don't wanna do all that because I gotta
No,
learn
it's
something
hard.
else.
Hard
I gotta
work.
learn
That's why
something
people,
else."
they get paid specifically just for that.
Yeah.
Like, you sit down, you prepare, like, you give the content, but then there's people in the background that literally all they do is just promote your stuff.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's the downside of
Sounds expensive.
I'm sure it is. Unless you get somebody who's just really good at it for free, or you do it yourself, which is what a lot of people do.
Yeah, yeah,
But like you said, I'm already down here. I don't
yeah, and that's sometimes the conflict there is in terms of creativity, if you are more of a writer or a thinker, then those sorts of things, those are done with a lot of silence and what looks like empty space in the day, but it really isn't because there's a thought process that has to go on with that creativity. And those sorts of things would be like squash any creative thought. If I had to start thinking about that process, I wouldn't even want to start.
Right.
And so maybe sometimes we just have to choose. Like, I can do this much. And if the Father wants me to do more,
Mhm.
He'll supply the people, the means, the finances, or whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And like with you, you've got the advantage, you can learn faster, those things. And you can
Maybe.
take advantage of them faster than somebody like me could. Um, where I would be more reactionary and you would be more proactive with it because you would understand how it's evolving.
Right. Well, and that's another thing, speaking of promoting things or trying to be a light, we have to understand the culture, because if we don't understand what appeals, what kind of quality, the types of videos, different things like that will resonate
Mhm.
with the younger generation or with the older generation or with all of them, because they're all on social media.
Mhm.
We have to understand it in a way to be able to do that. So I guess in conclusion to the social media question, or should we be involved in it or should we not? I guess having it is one thing. Obviously, don't let it be an idol, um, but use it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Not for our own selfish gain and to prop ourselves up on a platform, but try to be a light in the world, the salt of the earth, not like everybody else, because there's plenty of people dancing half naked on social media. We can start taking that over,
Mhm.
and we should.
Yeah. And I think that's the key too. I agree with you. If we can maintain our saltiness and our brightness, I think that will send a testimony that might transcend a lot of the stuff in the culture that seems like it can overwhelm social media.
And it's not you don't have to be a social media influencer to do this. You can have 50 followers, you can have 250, you can have 1,050. Doesn't matter. Do it the right way. Don't get on there and divide people, which is what social media is predominantly doing. Don't get on there to divide people. Get on there to be a light.
True. True. Well, I guess that does it for today, or at least for this program. We might follow up and talk a little bit more about social media in the next program as part of something I've been thinking about. But thank you for joining us, and we hope we'll see you next time on G2g, Generation to Generation. Welcome to Generation. I'm here with Coleman Hostetler, and we thought it would be a good idea, instead of doing what's normally done where the generations talk about each other, to maybe just talk to each other for a while. It just makes more sense. And right before we began, we noticed something that's different about these generations. Cole has got his phone right there on the table in
And
plain
she's got
sight.
her hard copy notes.
Hard copy notes
Hard copy.
hidden in my lap.
You did type them out though, so at least it's not like handwritten.
Right, and I did it on a laptop, so it's not like it was IBM Selectric.
That's right.
I mean,
Right.
we're not that old.
See, I don't even know what that means.
Okay, good. So,
I don't even know what that means.
right, then this is definitely a bridge over troubled water. There's
At least we're trying to build the bridge.
exactly.
Versus tearing it down.
Right, and that is a problem because, the more I hear my generation talk, the more we talk about what's wrong
With the
younger
I
generation.
hear that too, and I've probably said stuff, and I'm a part of that generation, so I
Yeah,
understand it. But then it also happens from the other side. Well, these old heads or whatever is just
yeah.
obviously it's disrespectful.
Right, but, sometimes there are 60-year-old 3-year-olds, and so
For sure.
it's not necessarily your chronological age.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we're having trouble with spiritual age, I think. Because, we've all got a birthday, and then hopefully we've always got a salvation birthday that we remember.
Right.
Whether we remember the exact calendar date, I can remember how old I was, and I know it was in the summertime at Vacation Bible School, but if you ask me the actual date, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I just have a time period. But that's what we said in the last program is we want to really pursue this question of salvation, since sometimes it's left in the dust with people studying Torah.
Right.
They're just obsessed with the Torah to the exclusion of the salvation message and really understanding what is the Torah for
Right.
and who is it for. And so we were going to follow up, on the relationship you were talking about of salvation, of how you needed to seek that out for yourself.
Right.
Can you expand upon that? Like, what was the pursuit of that like for you?
I think really just coming to the realization that Torah is in addition to our salvation, not at the expense of, and just trying to incorporate that and gain the knowledge, but not lose the relationship. But I've never really been, I guess I didn't really struggle with that part as much because I wasn't super into the knowledge of everything anyways. Like I thought it was really cool and people would show me stuff and it would be like different connections and stuff with the tour that was super cool. And I always listened to it growing up. Um, Dad would play, we had a little iPod and we would put it on the iPod dock and we would listen to it to go to sleep. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night if I couldn't sleep and it would still be playing and you would hear things. So I'm super grateful for that. But I think just trying to incorporate what it actually says versus just retaining the knowledge and, I know this, like I might know something more than somebody else. I don't think that's the point of it at all. I mean, that's why we're supposed to constantly search it out. And I think that's why there's so many things that may not be 100% clear is because he wants us to keep searching. He doesn't want us to know it all. It's the same back in the garden with um, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. I mean, that there's a reason it was forbidden. He didn't want us to know everything. He wants us to know him. So if we just continue to search his heart and not just the knowledge in a book, then I think we're on a better track.
I think that's a quotable quote. I like that. He doesn't need us to know everything. He needs us to know him.
Right.
So for you,
And that was good, wasn't it?
yeah, it was pretty good. Somebody needs to write that down.
Write it down. You guys need to write that
Right,
down.
we need merch, right?
Merch. Yeah.
We need a T-shirt. But yeah, that's important. So as you were growing up, like at what age did it kind of be a conscious effort to pursue the relationship with him more for yourself than just as something you did with your family?